Andrew!
What are you doing here? Cody, this is a federal building. What are you doing
You ready to
here?
talk on the Party Room Film Festival podcast?
Not really. I need to watch my film again, but let's do it. I guess we're doing it. Okay.
Hi, Andrew.
Cody Nowles.
I'm in
The
DC.
The man, the host, the legend.
Man, that was the legend. Welcome back to the Party Room Film Festival podcast, episode 8, I believe.
Okay, cool.
With Andrew King, I made my way to DC. This broadcast is brought to you by Maristem Crop Performance, who is paying for me to be out this direction anyway. So
That's a great sponsor. Yeah.
they'll never see this.
From
I
Big
hope they
Ag,
never
from
see
Big
this.
Ag.
Big Ag is making it possible for me to be here today.
There you go. Fantastic.
But we just watched, in my opinion, one of the best party room films that's been made.
Yeah, that's been the best part of the season thus far is the pegged theme that you've taken with pretty much every episode. And as someone who has an overinflated ego, I appreciate that for sure.
Well,
So.
you deserve all the accolades that you got, which were none this year.
I got
some, but you didn't get the Dewey.
I didn't get the Dewey. Obviously disappointed. You always want to shoot for gold, but
Yep.
one of these days,
spray paint.
yeah, exactly. One of these days, I'll get to be as good as Sam. So, but I did beat him this year. So
Yeah,
that's good.
Pegged, I think, I love Pegged because it's what I like. I know that like Party Room Film Festival should always be and will always be just our fake, as you keep saying, our fake.
It is a fake festival.
Fake film festival.
Want to emphasize that.
And that's great, and I love that. But I also love that there's no other way to put it. You went hard last year, and
I went
shows.
very hard. When it was announced that the theme was anime, but that's misleading because I was the one who announced it. But when we decided on the theme of anime, and we could talk about that more if you want, but I was like, it would be so funny if I won anime. So that was kind of some of the impotence. Impetus. Not impotence.
Not impotence.
Different
That's something
thing,
else.
Something different.
Yeah.
What you said behind going hard this
Yeah.
year. Yeah, it's not the impotence behind going hard.
All right,
That's for sure.
My first question about Pegged.
Yeah.
We're not getting that.
No, we're not.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Because you are clearly not impotent when it comes to making films.
Thank you.
But my first question about Pegged has to be, how hard was it to get Sarah to say yes?
Very easy. I get this question a lot. Very easy. I think it really just cost a Thai food. That was pretty much it. So
Thai food's great, so that's fair.
got Thai takeout, and Sarah did not read the script ahead of time, and then but she nailed it. I thought she did really well.
She absolutely killed it.
That was sort of the other thing. As I was thinking about this year, was like, okay, if I'm going to go all out, I need to pull out like every secret weapon possible.
Mm-hmm.
And Secret Weapon 1 was like going hard on an anime year where I think it's well known my hesitations with the genre or the art form. But then the other secret weapon was if I can get Sarah in a film that works. And actually it definitely was a surprise. Because that night Tanner had said like something to the effect of like, oh man, I bet we never see Sarah in a film. And I was like, oh yeah, she's probably never going to be in one of my films. And then that night was her debut.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed too. I mean, like, voice acting is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I've done some of it and I've done a billion takes. Usually mine's more like narration kind of thing for documentaries in the past, but like doing a character voice acting is not a simple thing to do.
Well, all my actors did great because essentially every single person was voice acting in some way.
Yeah.
Because the first scenes we filmed were with Zach.
Yeah.
And he was interacting with a violin, and he could tell you this. I think I told him maybe that Sarah was gonna be Peg, but
Okay.
that was it. Like we didn't really get any more than that. And like he's trying to interact with a violin that's supposed to be like a female violin, but I was like just reading the lines of dialogue like really poorly because I'm not that great of an actor. But so he was essentially voice acting for the first part, and then we recorded Trevor's parts. But as illustrious and as great an actor as Trevor is, even it was hard for him to pull off, but he didn't have anyone to really interact with either. And then your wife also had nobody to play off of. And then my wife, I don't think I cut the audio together at that point. So I was just kind of reading the lines and would have her read it. So nobody was really, they all did a good job considering nobody was reading off of any good actor in any way. They were reading off of me, and that was not my strong suit. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it cuts together, and it almost like it flows so effortlessly.
Awesome.
It feels like that, like it flows together beautifully, and it almost feels like they were like they're all together to do some of those pieces, especially the end. Like, and some of that's obviously like you're editing in the end as well.
Yeah, you mean like the confrontation scene?
Confrontation scene.
So that I believe what I did was I took each person's audio, color coded it a different color, and then would just like look at the timeline. And I did the audio edit first, and then I would I wouldn't even watch it. I would just listen to it, right? And then you lay in the clips on top of it and cut. And yeah, this is more the editing style, but my trope was maybe getting to the trope part of it, but was an inanimate object guides the main character on a quest or something, right? And so like to me, I didn't want to add any kind of and I have to think through this, but there's the only time there's like really, or I tried not to add like fake motion to it as much as I could. And in the confrontation scene, other than a couple like quick snap zooms to Peg, it's all like tripod locked off shots. Yeah. So I tried to like just add the action through like a lot of fast cuts, basically. Yeah.
No, I think you did an excellent job in that regard.
Sweet.
So
I'll take it.
We'll move on to back to like up a little bit to my first question that I've been asking people. Yeah. Because we just watched Pegged again, and it's fantastic. So we got right into that. But I've been going around, and as people know by this point, and talking to people about what they've been doing, because it's been a while since we've been out of college. So what are you doing these days? What does your career look like?
It's actually kind of funny, because I thought, I don't know if you've seen the like Reels or TikToks or whatever of like when friends get together and they do the what the heck I do for work presentations. I was like, this is basically the what the heck I do for work presentation. So I work in the Senate. I do in a building connected to the Capitol, but sometimes I'll go into the Capitol building. And I work with all 49, or I can work with all 49 of the Senate Republicans there. So a lot of these offices will only have usually like 3 communications people on their team. They'll have the communications director who basically tells the senator the right way, the most effective way, we'll say, to say
X, Y, or Z.
X, Y, or Z. A press assistant who will basically help the comms director do that, and then a digital person in some way. Some people have more, but it's pretty much just 3. And the digital person might be really good at social media, but has no idea how to make a graphic, or they might be great at photography, but they can't make a video, or anyway. Or some of them will have like little mini studios, especially post-COVID. Some like kind of set up their own thing, but most don't have something like that. So basically our office comes to them, and we're essentially whatever you don't have, we'll kind of fill in the gap. So I'm the digital director, so I lead our digital team. So we send out graphics that people can post. So like May, I think, has like, we've identified like 17 or 18 different holidays or national recognition weeks or months or whatever. So we make all of those graphics and we send them out to offices. So like if they're busy and don't want to make those graphics, they can just use ours. So we'll have like, for a bigger holiday, we'll have like 30 different senators posting our graphic, which is kind of cool. We'll also travel a little bit. I don't do this as much as some people, but we'll travel different places around the country with senators. So like next week, I'm going to Florida for a smaller event. That same day, the reason I'm going to Florida is that same day, 2 of our other guys are going on a trip to the border with like 7 or 8 senators. So we'll do that. And it's, sometimes it's like really, hard. Like the border is obviously like a difficult thing to film and capture, and just, everything with that. But then I've also like gone to a state and filmed someone's cooking show before. So as like their little like, their like personal touch thing they do every holiday season. So
Gotcha,
I made a senator some Thanksgiving recipe videos and Christmas recipe videos. So anyway,
That's hilarious. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
what senator was that?
that was Blackburn. So Marsha Blackburn, she's basically your like grandma. So we went into her
What
home.
state is she from?
Tennessee. So
Tennessee,
just
okay.
south of most of you, or almost all of you, except
To some degree,
McClellan.
yeah.
So yeah, she had. I'm trying to think what we made. Well, what she made and I filmed. There was like a stuffing or dressing, I think you call it in the South, and like a feta cheese dip maybe for Thanksgiving, and then there was like for Christmas there was a cranberry something. I forget. It's been a while, but anyway, it was like two.
Is that what I remember in your demo reel?
Oh,
is that
yeah.
the old lady has like the pie or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a different old lady's voice. For a shoot I had done, she like did wood carving.
Okay.
But that was like one of the first things I ever shot with the governor's office when I like first started. So some of those like shots aren't great.
Yeah.
But the voice was perfect, and it actually doesn't really sound anything like her.
Yeah.
I don't know why more people in my office didn't really call me out on it, because they should know. They have like a southern accent, but she's not. Anyway, they don't really sound exactly alike. But yeah, it's a different woman's voice, but then it's her.
Okay.
Voice. So yeah, that's what that is.
That's really cool.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot it's in there. But yeah,
that's fun.
So yeah, sorry. So real quick, so we we'll and then we have a digital team. Sorry, that makes like graphics and documents for people. So like we helped a committee with like a 45-page report recently that they basically come up with like a really ugly Word document, and we make the Word document look nice.
I've done that kind of thing myself.
And then you saw today we have that TV studio that senators can come in, and a lot of them, what they'll do is they'll like have a set like hour. And they walk in, and all the local press will like tune into a specific link, and they'll give like a 5 to 10 minute opening statement that's like, here's what I'm working on this weekend or this week while here. Here's the big things that people are talking about. Here's my opinions on them. And then they go around and ask questions. So we like help basically senators connect with their local news, because they usually are in from like Monday to Thursday.
Okay.
So anyway,
That's really cool.
that's the short of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of thing. I mean, helping an old lady senator with their baking show and going to Alaska, even going to the border.
Yeah. And Alaska, sorry, keep going. Yeah.
That's what I love about media.
Yes.
Honestly, like and doing what we do, and I've said this a couple times on podcasts, like we get to see things that a lot of people don't, and we get that opportunity to have a very different kind of perspective than a lot of people ever get to have.
I'll make like really like intense like policy documents on like immigration policy, and then I'll go from that to a senator who played in the congressional baseball game who had a triple that knocked in 3 runs and wanted a baseball card. Or I think it was we made him a baseball card pregame, and then postgame he wanted like a graphic for his social media that showed his stats. So I have a on our digital team, the rule is like you guys get first pick of anything, because like I'm digital director, so they can do what they want first, and I'll take whatever's left. But the rule is like if it involves sports, that's mine. So I've made,
that's funny.
Anyway,
how many people are on your team?
we have 3 graphic designers.
Okay.
And then we have 2 video guys. So including me, we have 3 graphic designers, 2 video guys. And then we have like 5 or 6 people in our TV studio. But I also, as you obviously know, do video and photos as well. So I'll kind of float back and forth based on like what the need is. But now we also, we try to hire people who have multiple skill sets as well. So one of our graphic designers is a fantastic photographer as well. So we're trying to get her more involved. The girl at the front desk also wants to do more photography, so she's getting involved. And awesome. We now, for a while, we only had 1 crew that could go out to a state. So if there were ever 2 shoots at the same time, they would have to split up, and like a 1-person shoot is obviously difficult. So now we have 2 teams that can go. So I'm kind of like the alternate that kind of goes in. I'm more the main photographer for our team, and then I'll also lead the graphic design team basically, and do videos as needed.
That's really cool.
That's the gig. So so that's the what the heck Andrew does.
What the heck Andrew does. Now I imagine that working. I mean, I've only been here a little bit, but I know it's there's a lot going on in this part of the country, in this city.
Really?
Yeah. And my dad actually worked here when he was about our age.
Yeah.
And he talks repeatedly about how he's like, yeah, I'd never do it again. So I imagine there's a lot of stress involved in this.
The biggest thing is like some days you just like don't know what the plan is. So like I just got the text like right before that I was responding to is some senator wants to go to a protest tomorrow, and so they were like, "Can you come film?" Because like we're meeting with people. So it's like, all right, I guess that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we just kind of figure out how to best help with that. But then the flip side is like sometimes you think it's going to be really busy, and then you have like absolutely nothing to do. So. Yeah, I mean, you definitely. When I first moved here, I definitely took this job way too seriously, and as I've like started to work here more and more. This is maybe a gross generalization, but I came to the realization that the majority of what I do doesn't matter, and like that's actually okay.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have to, and like the people who take their job way too personally on the Hill. Burn out incredibly quick and get really jaded. And I'm trying not to burn out quick because I'm already pretty jaded. So I'm doing my best to, but yeah, anyway, there's pros and cons. The days that are great are like super awesome. And you get to help, like we had a event the other day that I loved where we had a senator was trying to, he's from South Dakota, and he was trying to help Native Americans in his state get veterans benefits. Native Americans who had served in the military, not just in general, but was trying to get Native Americans who had served in the military veterans benefits. And one specifically had served in Korea with his father, who had since passed away. But this guy has got to be like 80 or 90 years old in a wheelchair. But they finally like were able to like write this into law. I was a little hazy on the specifics, but I got to like film that event and him like meeting this guy who knew his father and was best friends with his father. And
that's really cool.
That type of, so those days are great. And then the days where you work on something for 3 weeks and then the day it goes public and it gets trashed and taken out to the dumpster and shot are like pretty miserable days. But anyway, there's that's the job.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? What's next for you? Are you going to keep doing that, or is there?
Well, Sarah and I love DC.
Okay.
So like we really, and by DC I mean like the general area of DC.
Yeah,
so
the city itself.
I would even say the area outside. So people call it like the DMV area. So you have DC is D, Maryland, M, V, Virginia.
Okay.
So like so like we're on the street. Some people in Party Room have visited before. We're a couple with no kids. We're fine. I would not raise kids on this street.
Yeah.
Not the safest thing. There are people who do that. That's great. I would not do that. Also, like housing in DC is obviously very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out. I feel like we will live here for a decent amount of more time. It might not be here in DC. It might be like in Arlington in Virginia. Mm-hmm. We're doing everything we possibly can to not live in Maryland. That's a goal of ours.
Why is that?
Maryland just sucks. Like it's not pretty. It looks pretty awful. And it's just like stuck between Baltimore, where we would live in Maryland, would be stuck between Baltimore and DC. So it's basically just like congested completely.
Yeah, terrible traffic
all the time.
Either way you're going.
Yeah, so like there are nice places to live in Maryland, but Virginia is a lot nicer. We prefer Virginia. So yeah, we'll definitely live in the area in some way, shape or form. And then I'm doing by the time this episode airs, there might be something different, but I'm doing my best to get out of the political aspects of the job, the partisan aspects. There you go. Yeah. Of the job I have, and find a more like bipartisan thing before things really start ramping up before this election, because I am trying to avoid that as much as possible. Yeah. But we might watch this in 6 months and laugh. So we'll find out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this year's going to be a crazy one to be sure. Yes. So thank God for Party Room Film Festival.
Thank goodness for Party Room Film Festival. Exactly. We and we're football season's done, and all we have is boring baseball. So
so you've got a month left to finish up the rules video and get it sent out.
Yeah.
Because it's currently like May 2nd or something. Right?
The first. Today is May 1st.
Today is May 1st. So
and we've got. yeah, we've got a great. I'm gonna choose my words carefully, but a great year planned for sure. Will be very exciting. But here, even if we didn't have a great year planned, it doesn't matter because everyone already has their films planned and knows what they're gonna do, and they're gonna make it a killer year anyway. So we could like drop the ball entirely, but everybody else would not. So we're safe.
Year 5.
Year 5.
Party Room Perv.
Yeah, I don't think people thought that was as funny as I thought it was, so we will probably be changing it too.
Oh, I think it's hilarious.
I know, but you are not in the majority. So.
Sam's down. Everybody that I've talked to has been down for
That's
it.
good because there's a lot of people. We'll see. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
I do recommend not shirts that just say PRV.
No, that will not be happening.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Can guarantee.
I am excited though. I mean, it's incredible that we've been doing this for 5 years.
Very fun.
And as I've said before, it's incredible that like we as a group of friends have known each other now for more than 10 years, which for most of us is like a third of our lives.
Yeah.
So that's just really cool. And every like whenever I talk to my dad or we were at Zach's parents' place over the weekend and talking to Luke Adam, and he's like, I just love the fact that you guys do this. And I love that we do this, and I hope that we continue doing it for another 5 years, and we'll see what happens after that. But so year 5, what are your hopes and dreams? Actually, no, we'll go back and talk more about year 4.
Oh, okay,
about
sure.
Pegged.
Yeah, we'll start with Pegged. Sure.
We talked a little bit about Sarah's role in it, and that she did an excellent job. Honestly, like I first started hearing rumblings about your film mostly through my wife, who you contacted to do some voiceover.
Yes.
And she told me nothing. So
good, yeah, because that was the big thing. I told her, I was like, I have a part for you, but it is way more fun going into Party Room not knowing anything about even the films that you're in, like just not even knowing, like you could trust people enough pretty much to be like, okay, they're not gonna like have me doing something unethical in this film. Okay, whatever you need, I'll do it. So that was it was fun to kind of contact her, but because she is like a good actor and knows, about
she'd argue with you on that.
Well,
she did
here's
a great
the thing.
job.
She at least like Trevor didn't ask me what his motivation was, where Heather did, and I was like, but I also didn't really want to give away I didn't want to give away the object at all.
Okay.
So in my poster, there's no violin.
Yep.
In the like quick little synopsis that we had to give to Heather, I kept that completely hidden. The only people who really knew, I think I had to basically tell all the voice actors, so they like kind of knew what was happening. Okay. But I was trying to see if I could keep it from Heather, and then she was like, well, what's my motivation? I was like, okay, here's the situation. You're a violin. Bo, the guy you're with in this scene, is a bow, and then Peg is another violin, like a violin Peg. So anything that, and actually, I believe, I could be wrong, Heather might have to correct me here, I think she actually came up with the name Amanda Lynn. I think I actually, no, she did. She definitely did. Because originally it was Vivian, which was sort of a play on Vivaldi. But I told her, like, I'm not super proud of this name. So if you can come up with something else, you're happy to change it.
Amanda Lynn works perfectly.
It's perfect. And actually, she could also correct you. She might not have come up with that. She might have actually texted Harry Fogel about that, and he might have come up with it. Okay. But I don't know. Somebody
Harry touches the Party Room Film Festival every year in some way.
I did not come up with the name Amanda Lynn. I know Harry definitely came up with Fugue Around and Find Out.
Okay.
Or maybe not. I don't know. You should probably just interview Heather about this film.
We're gonna interview each other at some point.
There you go.
And have those conversations.
Yeah, you should ask her about that. But anyway, all that to say, kudos to the solo or duo combination of Heather and or Harry. But yeah, definitely, I was trying to kind of keep hidden what the objects were. But then I had to just be like, hey, listen, I'll tell you, just don't tell Cody. You're a violin. This is heavy, music puns. And she was like, got it.
Yeah. I remember when she was recording it, she was like, okay, I'm going to she had me make sure that everything was set up so she could record properly. Yeah. And she was like, okay, go away.
Yeah, you're gone. Yeah. And I think I would have texted her on a Friday or something. Yep. And then Saturday, as Zach and I were driving to Lexington to go record with Trevor, she sent the email at that point.
Oh, nice.
And we played it and we were like, that's it. We got it. That's perfect. I think all I maybe did was speed her voice up just a little bit.
Okay.
Just to, keep up with the like intensity
Yep.
of it. But yeah, pretty much took it straight. And she gave, I think usually like 5 or 6 takes per line. So she did a great job. And then Trevor was, obviously just Trevor. He, as you can imagine, ad-libbed the little tiger growl at the end. But yeah, that was a fun scene. Scene.
I bet that was a lot of fun. Did you happen to record Trevor like video as well, or just audio?
Just audio.
Okay.
Just
because it would
audio.
have been funny to watch him giving those lines.
It was no, we were. I think Zach and Josiah were in the room. And you would just see them like looking at the recording device, and as like Trevor would go through his lines, they would both just be like trying to hide the laughter, and their heads would just go like lower and lower. And I could see them, but like Trevor could not. And very, very funny to watch them.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Now, where did the inspiration for this film come from? I mean, obviously, a lot of it is very heavily dependent on the trope that you received.
Yeah, that was one of the. Kind of the point of the tropes, or what we tried to do, was to give, or what we were hoping was that, because we like randomly drew them to different people,
okay,
right?
Yep.
And we were hoping that like, the Matt Stices and like the Zachs of the world who like heavily planned their films ahead of time would get the harder tropes,
okay,
right? But I feel like I got one of the harder tropes. And then Matt was like, no, I don't have to change anything. And he just like, he did it anyway. But yeah, so like the trope being like an object guides you on the quest is like pretty specific.
It's very specific.
A ton you can do with it. But recently, or like slightly before that, I had found my computer with all my old scripts that I had written back in college, and there was I don't want to say it was exactly pegged, but I had like a short film, post-apocalyptic, cartoony, kind of like weird vibe kind of film in there. And I won't say the whole plot, because I actually like might make it at some point in Party Room, because I think it would as itself be a pretty cute Party Room film. I don't know if I can expand the PEG universe or not.
I mean, it could just be the same apocalypse, just in a different part.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyway, but it was very music themed. Was the idea, or there were like music elements to it. So I was like, okay, well, like for an object, maybe it could be like a guitar or something is the object. And then so the other thing that was highly influential was I was going against Sam, and his trope was montage, or like training montage. And so I wanted to be able to do his trope better than him. And that was also like heavily involved. Like I wanted to make not necessarily a training montage, but some kind of montage that was better than his montage to just kind of show him up. Because Sam sucks. So not really. His film was like really awesome. We can definitely talk about that later.
Yeah.
But so I would like, as I would walk to work, I would listen to bluegrass music, just to kind of like get in like a guitar mindset, and then started to think through like, okay, well, I'd have to like buy a guitar, or I have a guitar, but like it looks nice. It's not necessarily apocalyptic. So I could buy a broken guitar, but I don't really want to do that. And then really just slowly, I don't know if there was a specific moment, I think I just eventually switched it to violin, because I actually broke a violin when I was a kid. So pegged is my old violin that I broke as like a 12 or 13-year-old that my dad just kept, and he like hung it on his office, and just kept it all these years on his office wall. And so then I was like, okay, well, what does like the violin want to do? And as I was thinking about this too, like in a lot of apocalypse movies or Western movies, you have like the old, like haggard, like old man who leads like the innocent young girl through the apocalypse. And like he's the grizzled old guy who's seen it all. And then the young girl is like usually super annoying.
The Last of Us.
It's The Last of Us. It's Logan. It's Book of Eli, where she's like still kind of hardened, but she's still like pretty naive. Anyway, it's, a True Grit is basically this, right? Like every single Western or whatever. So I started to get to the point where I was like, well, what if I made like an anti-apocalypse movie where the like haggard old guy is actually the person who hasn't seen anything, and then the object is like the young woman, but actually she's seen like all of it.
She's
and
more world
She's
weary
way
than
more worldly than the haggard old guy is. So anyway, I'd like tried to flip that on it, and then you had to like figure out a quest, and then there was the BEAU comparison, and then it eventually just morphed into what it was. And then really, actually, what really sold the like anti kind of apocalypse thing. And I think Trevor, I think I mentioned this the night of, but back in 2014, I was trying to figure out the vibe of this film, like what would kind of the feel be. And back in 2014, I hope I'm right. 2015. It was 2015 when Callie and Trevor got married.
Okay. Yeah.
Tanner Record, myself, Levi, and one other person. I think. Oh no, Landers. Obviously, it was Landers.
Okay.
We had played at Trevor's wedding, and as we were, we had like our bluegrass band, Abe, the Asbury Bluegrass Experience, and Trevor's dad had come to us and said, "Do you guys know any Gangsta Grass?" And we were like, "What is Gangsta Grass?" And it was this like bluegrass hip hop combo band,
mishmash
thing, which actually like turns out it kind of works because they're both like kind of blues influenced, and so like going together actually kind of work. So once I remembered Gangsta Grass and like looked up some songs, I was like, okay, I think I finally like found the vibe. So it really was like a month of just walking to work, listening to music, walking back, listening to music, then slightly shifting the music, then slightly shifting the music, and just slowly working it in my head until I got the premise of it. So
that's really cool. That sounds like a really, I mean, it's clearly well thought out because obviously it comes together really well, and it shows up. But yeah, that's a really cool way of putting that together.
Yeah.
So
that was a long meandering tale, but it really was like I would figure out one scene on this walk, and then I would like kind of edit the scene in my head and then figure out the timing, because there's like 8 scenes in 8 minutes. Like it happens very, very quick.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I think like with your use of little bits of like tagline text in different places and stuff like that helps very quickly tell a story.
Yeah. You mean like then one day, that type of thing?
Exactly. Yeah. So some of that just helps bring like helps make sure that the audience understands exactly like, okay, we're transitioning to a different time period or a different day or. And
like I was trying to like make it more, because like I obviously like I don't watch anime, so anime would be inspired by manga. I don't read manga, but I was like, okay, this is like I'm basically making a comic book movie. Yeah, is kind of what I was trying to go for. So.
Yeah, no, I see that too with the way that you did different like panels in some of your montages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like you did such a good job of telling a really very complete story in this short amount of time that we have. We don't have a lot of time, and so often that ends up being. Mostly like one scene. I mean, it's the same kind of thing that we ran into so often in making films for school and Highbridge and stuff like that. So many of them just end up being like, oh, we're just taking a scene. Yeah. And that's 8 minutes long.
You make a YouTube skit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so you did such a good job of making a real narrative that has multiple scenes and multiple story beats that actually go through it really well. And actually, Sam also did that really well this year as well.
Yeah, very true.
With Into the Bloodline too. And so you had both of those films in the same competition or like head to head that did a very good job of those kind of separate story beats and scenes that really came together very, very well.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I timed it out as I was writing the script, I would like read it out to myself. Yeah. And then all the music, I edited the music before we had even shot anything. Because I needed to know like how
much you needed to shoot.
Can I do? Yeah, how much do I need to shoot and how much can I do? And so like for the big like travel montage in the middle, I wanted to like, I had a long version of that montage and then a short version of that montage. Okay. So I was actually trying to remember. So in the middle, there's the like 2 jokes. I had a third one, but I had to cut it because it like fit in the longer one. Okay. But I can't remember what the joke was anymore. But
would there be a Andrew King cut of the King cut?
No, because my literally the day after I finished my cut, my hard drive
Just dies.
Just died. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's like
no.
all gone. So that's the only cut that will ever exist of that film. It all was gone the next day.
That's so
Yeah.
sad.
So it's I still have the hard drive. So
Yeah.
like I could like,
There's recovery.
there's recovery
yeah.
stuff, but it's like also like I don't really need anything on that. There's more. I have like Bergam footage on that, so yeah. That's all
We were
I've
talking
got.
about Bergam in the
that's
chat
all-
earlier
that's all
today,
I've got. That's actually what I'd preserve more. And actually the anime intro is on that hard drive too.
Okay.
So yeah, I was really only able to salvage. I had exported shots from the anime intro of every single person. That was pretty much all I could salvage, but yeah. Anyway, so I planned out the whole all of Peg like very, very specifically to time. And I think my first cut was only like 8:45 or something. Like I didn't actually have to cut all that much. That's another reason the Andrew cut wouldn't really add anything. You get like a joke, and that's pretty much it. So
Yeah. Well, you did a very good job with that, and we're all. I'm honestly so surprised that it didn't win the Golden Dewey. I thought like as soon as I saw it, we were sitting in Mexico and Heather and I were sitting there with our friend JC, who also just thought it was fantastic.
Oh, awesome.
And we were both like, yeah, that like Golden Dewey, like.
Well,
100%.
I mean, Tick Tick was
Tick Tick was incredible.
So I think I got third, and it was Tick Tick and Sir Sam, and both were like mine was well shot, but Paul's was awesomely shot, and like it's hard to beat.
Very creative too.
Very creative,
with the way he did
and
the
he
song.
did like a full like animation in the middle as well. And then Levi, like obviously like if you write and make your own song, like huge advantage. So have you interviewed Zach yet?
Yes.
For the podcast. So
Yes.
did he explain how he's like ruined Party Room? Did he explain that in his podcast?
No.
Oh, never mind. Well, jokingly with me, he said he was going to talk to you about this. So I guess
He might have. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, he basically was like, "Kill Happy destroyed Party Room."
Oh, yes,
okay,
yes, yes, we talked about that.
It was like if he set me up to like trash Kill Happy, but
No, I'm not sure if he. I can't remember if he mentioned that on the podcast or if that was just when we were having dinner together before the marathon.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think he mentioned it on the podcast.
Well, for those who aren't aware, he had explained that Kill Happy like destroyed Party Room because after Kill Happy, people were like, "Oh, we can tell good stories," but like that's not what Party Room's about.
I disagree.
I know, and also he would disagree, right? Like you could tell a good story and do it well because he obviously does.
Yeah.
But maybe in a similar way, like Levi has now killed Party Room because before in like the Sam era of Party Room, all it took to win was like a good ball joke. Now you have to tell a good story that's funny and do original music within the song.
See, I see only good things with this, and like I understand that like. And Trevor just wants the chaos.
Sure,
like
and
always,
that's great.
Always will, and I love that, and there will always be that chaos. But and as I can't remember again, I can't remember if this was on the podcast or not. But like Zach and I were talking about how like there is it's a pendulum, and there is a section that's like just the perfect mix. Like we can get to higher quality, and we can keep the chaos.
Yeah,
but. Like if we go too far this direction, we lose the chaos and it gets unfun.
You don't want,
or if we go too far this way, it just gets to be too much chaos and just kind of stupid to where it's no.
Yeah, you don't want the worst of Highbridge, right? Where it's like 14 8-minute films that are like good attempts at storytelling. Like that's great, but like we don't like really want that much, right? But then we also don't need like 14 End of the Bloodlines because like that is funny.
Or 14 Le Plombiers.
Or 14 Le Plombiers or like 14 American Unsightlies. Like we don't really want that.
No.
That's why like How Not to Find Food in the Wild was so funny that year 3.
It was so good.
Because everybody actually kind of tried to make like serious films and then And if I recall, that film came after like 4 or 5 like really long, like complete stories. And then How Not to Find Food in the Wild just hit, and it's amazing because of that, because it like didn't try to.
I always get that one confused with Jacob McGlone Fever Dream because it was a fever dream.
Yeah, it was. But that actually was. But again, that was a full complete story, right? So yeah, you need that like good mix. My running theory on Party Room is the winning film is the one that does what no other film does. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, like,
And is submitted on time.
and it's submitted on time. So like if for
Because year 3, it would have been Girlfriend of
correct,
is a
correct,
Screen.
correct.
Because that just
But-
came out of left field so
Yes.
beautifully.
So like if if like 5 people make an 8-minute long like full story, then it kind of messes up if you do an 8-minute long full story because 4 other people did it with you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where like really year 1, Sam was like the only one really that did like a super short like kind of single joke film that really I think Trevor kind of did with Trapped, but like Sam was like in and out. This is an entire film about a ball joke, and he was like the only one that did that, so it was perfect.
Yeah.
And then Aaron kind of came in with like high quality, also like just the extremes of like a pug like possession. Anyway, that's sort of my theory is. Like we've seen now a vast array of films win. So I think if your film is the one that does the most unique thing in a quality way, that's maybe.
Yeah, and then what last year 3 was Bargain Batman.
Bargain Batman,
And Bargain Batman just was such a
It was a complete story that didn't take itself too seriously.
exactly.
It was like it's very matte. It's like the perfect matte film because
Yep.
it's like really cheesy, over the top effects, a super simple storyline. The like breaking the fourth wall thing is like perfect for Matt.
Yep.
And it's like just the perfect party room film. So yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. But yeah, anyway, so it was all that to say, steep competition in year 4, Tick Tick, Sir Sam, great films. But it did well. Like I got the first cinematography award,
Which absolutely deserved
very
it.
happy.
You the effort that you put into that to making
Very
sure
happy
that
with that.
everything looked consistent. It's probably one of the most consistent looking
Awesome.
party room films, I would say. And yeah, no, I think you should be very proud of that film.
I'm very happy with it.
The silly, stupid jokes and all.
Yes, no, it was fun, and I like the story. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of, I mean, it's like it's kind of fast, but it's also like 8 minutes, and so like you're trying to have heart in 8 minutes, and like it is what it is. But yeah, so it won cinematography, and then obviously it won Best Actress,
Okay.
Or Best Actor, and because we don't discriminate in Party Room. But also what I'm proud of, so I've won or tied for Best Poster every single year.
Really?
Yep. So I tied Aaron the first year we did it, which was year 2,
Okay.
for the American Unsightly poster, which was just a picture of my torso.
A recreation of the American Beauty
Yes.
poster, but with a burger.
Great photo. Hard to take on your own.
Probably, yep.
It was. And then year 3 was the autobiopic poster. So I
Okay.
won that year, and then I won with Pegged. So
Okay.
very happy with
Good work.
Yeah, I'm undefeated or tied, I guess.
Which is still undefeated.
Still undefeated. Yeah, so I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated on the poster. So very happy with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're coming around to year 5. What are you looking forward to this year?
Well, so I'm a little bit bummed because I'm going to the Olympics and
Yeah.
doing Paris. It's just not really going to work for me to like take a week off, right? And there's not really a great like recess time in the Senate for me to come down to
Yeah.
Kentucky. So I'm going to. So that's the bummer. But I'm actually this year going to try and get up to Pennsylvania and film with my brother.
Okay.
So he helped a lot with the script
Yeah.
of Pegged. So I would like send it to him, and he would like let me know his thoughts. He didn't write any of it; I wrote it. But he would like tell me what was funny, what he liked, what he didn't get, and all that. And then as I would have edits or
Yeah.
of different versions, I would send it to him. And so we have a very similar comedy style as
Okay.
well. So I definitely have an idea for this. As long as the council doesn't screw with my idea, I should be able to pull it off, I think. But I'm going to go head up to Pennsylvania and film with him.
That's really exciting.
So are you just asking about my film? Or you're asking
No. Where are you from in Pennsylvania?
Central Pennsylvania, so Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, which is about 2 hours from my place to his.
Okay.
In Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and that's where my parents are. And then might involve the grandparents as well. It's a little sneak peek, but not really in any way. So I might be going towards Philly as well, which is like 3 hours. So
From
here.
From here, okay.
Yeah. So it's like kind of a triangle. So from here to Philly is like 3 hours,
Yep.
and then from here to my brother is 2 hours, and then between them is 2 hours. So I might do
okay.
like a triangle kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
Pennsylvania's bigger than you realize sometimes.
yeah, but it's actually where I grew up. We were actually closer. So I was born closer to Philly, but then when we moved,
Okay.
we were technically closer to Baltimore, like an
Gotcha.
hour and a half versus like an hour 45 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. So that's the plan. Looking forward to that. We've been bouncing some ideas back and forth. And so far, I think if I pull this idea off, it will be the first time something like this has been done in Party Room.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that.
Cool. Breaking new
Yeah.
ground
Yes.
every year.
That's the idea. That's the idea.
Now, as a member of the council, you are now the last member of the council that I'm actually interviewing.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So
Yeah.
what can you tell us from the council about this coming year?
Well, it's so the plan is we're going to encourage everyone to make films that are shorter than 8 minutes, 3 seconds, and 69 frames. Man, I mean, it's going to be, I don't know. You're asking a politician to not give anything away. So, I mean, it'll be very, very fun. I think working together this year will be very, very fun.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Are the rules going to encourage that this year, you think?
I have no idea. We'll find out.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's going to be a very fun year. Here's what I will say. I think if you do this year right, you could make a pretty awesome film, like a very high quality film if you do it right.
Okay.
But I mean, high quality films don't necessarily win. So, if you want to go all out, the guidelines will definitely assist you.
Okay.
I think in that maybe. I think that's I've ummed and uhed through that whole section.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be pretty
like a
painful.
true
Yes.
member of this city.
Right. Yeah, I learned from the best and the worst, but yeah, I think that's maybe all I'll say. But
Okay.
it should be pretty fun. But actually, here's the other thing I'll say. We also talked a little bit about the plan for Party Room Weekend.
Okay.
And one thing we're actually really thought of ahead of time is we're probably going to encourage somebody in the group to kind of help us build out more of an itinerary.
Okay.
So last year, for instance, we had a lot of people, people came Thursday, people came Friday, people came Saturday, and it was kind of hey, you want to go throw frisbee? Yeah, let's go throw frisbee. And we just threw frisbee, but then you had people who were hey, does anyone want to play a board game? And it was
Yeah.
we'll get to board games eventually. And then we just never really got to board games, or they wanted to do the trading card game, and we were oh, we'll get to the trading card game. Don't worry.
We're gonna throw frisbee first.
And then we're throw frisbee first, and then people were tired. And so anyway, it was discussed that how about we have someone build out an itinerary, and this is not you have to do this thing at this point, but it's hey, if you want to play board games, that is going to happen at 2 p.m. or whatever.
Just a little bit more structure to the whole weekend. I know that it sounds like more people are trying to take a little bit because it's kind of, I mean, this is year 5, it's more established, and it's the 5th anniversary of it as well. I know that I'm intending to make sure that I have time to stay at least 2 nights with everybody and hang out and spend some good quality time with you all.
I'm doing the same thing as I did 2 years ago, where I've contacted the Kentucky Senators and asked if they need anything shot in Kentucky the last week of August, so that I can go down for work and then stay. So that's the goal. We'll see. Probably unlikely to happen, but we'll see if I can pull that off.
Yeah.
So
nice.
But yeah, it should be fun. We're trying to just every year it's okay, what went well last year? What can we learn from that type of thing? So
for our fake film festival.
For our fake film festival. Yeah, exactly. I think there's talk of fireworks.
I'm excited for that.
Should be good.
I've got some ideas that I'm gonna try to bring down and enjoy as well. So
I had one idea. I don't know if I've not talked about this with Zach and Josiah. I don't know if people would even want to do this, but some type of a stupid Olympics would also be kind of fun.
like the Office Olympics.
Yeah, Office Olympics. just something like that. But this is not a well-reasoned or well-established idea. This is just me kind of speaking it and saying it. But
So from this past year, other than like obviously we all enjoy our own films, what was one of your favorite party room films from this past year?
I'm gonna definitely sit on the fence here a little bit, but like what was great about this year was everyone really made a film that was like purely them.
Yeah.
So I will say like favorites, but what was so great was everyone like made a, like nobody tried to like copy someone else's style, or even if they did copy someone else's, or not copy, like were influenced, because like I was influenced by Kill Happy, but like I made it kind of my own thing, right? But I mean, I really loved Sam's film. So I could break down my two favorites. So I voted for Golden Dewey, I voted for Tick Tick, and then I voted for Sam's film. Because
End of the Bloodline 2.
Yeah, because End of the Bloodline 2, because frankly, when I saw that Sam had made a 7 or 8 minute film, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna like go so long. But he pulled it off. And it's like what we were talking about.
He really did.
Like each scene is pretty short. Like there's no, even like montages can go really long. His didn't really go that long. It didn't go long at all. It was like it moved really well. It was really funny the whole time. There was no like slow moments, and like the little like one-liner like Sam zingers are always just perfect. And obviously, like I think he mentioned this in his podcast, he put Rocky music in there to like really tug at the heartstrings.
Yours specifically.
Mine specifically. So yeah, as I think he mentioned this in his podcast, but like as I was watching it, I was like, well, dang, like, do I vote for his like over mine for this film? Oh, actually, you know what? No, I did lie. I voted Pegged and End of the Bloodline for Golden Dewey. I would have voted for my own, but it was between Tick Tick and End of the Bloodline too. Yeah. I voted for that. But anyway,
I will say I don't think I've actually ever voted for my own film.
You're a better man than I. Yeah, that's why we give people 2 votes.
That's fair.
I mean, like you should, if you don't think your film is the best, don't vote for your film for best film. But I did like my film. I thought it was good.
No, I think yours was excellent.
But I also like Rocky is like a soft spot for me. Like, so I was like, okay, like I can at least vote for it for best film because like it is really good. But like the story was fun. It was more serious, but like it was still
still did it in a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
And it did it in a way that as I think I talked about with him then, like a way that was heartfelt without being corny.
But it was still, still was.
It was,
and that's
but
cool.
It wasn't.
It wasn't super forced. And like Sam pulled it off, and it was awesome. And actually, I'd have to go. Oh no, this is true. So every year in Party Room, the piano theme from Rocky has been in every single year. And actually, I was bummed this year because I put it in. So the theme is like bum 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 bum, but it's a little like soft piano at the beginning of the first Rocky movie. I put it in. Put it in Evil. I put it in End of the Bloodline. American Unsightly, and then I had it in Autobiopic, and I got to layer it in with Mozart. I was actually really proud of that edit.
Nice.
But this film, I was like, with Pegged, I just couldn't find a place to put it in. But with End of the Bloodline, Sam put it in, and I was like, okay, well, the streak continues. Like this little piece of music has been in every single one. So this year, everyone should attempt to put it in to keep the streak alive. I guess. But yeah, that was good. Tick Tick. Obviously super awesome. Very, very like what's going on, what's happening. The rap from McGlone, perfection. Excellent. Very very concise, well written, super awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to run through all the films. Les Plumiers is just awesome.
That was a dark horse that
just perfect. Yeah, because I mean, I really have nothing to say about it because there isn't really anything to say about it other than it was just a standout film. And I know I'm missing people's here, so I'm very sorry. But I also loved Josiah's and Perfect because this is kind of what I was saying. Like everyone made the perfect or the perfect film for them. Yeah, like that is like the essence of Josiah
and like his humor too.
Exactly. It's perfect. It's so funny. I got to be in it, which I liked. But yeah, anyway, he was great. And Perfect was like, it was so perfect, and it like the comedy was like so slow, but that's what worked. And it was like that's the point of it, was like, I mean, it's like Wes Anderson humor, so it's like slow and takes a little bit of time. But that was again perfect. Like I really loved that film. And I'm like running through the list. I don't want to like miss anyone. But yeah, all the films were like very, very fun. I think it had been brought up that like the quality on them was all just like much, much higher. Like people are putting more and more time into it. For sure.
And I mean, and the people that, I mean, Jacob and Trevor, I mean, didn't go to film school.
Yeah.
They weren't media comm students with us, but like
Trevor told us while we were like chatting at Zach's place after, like he has to, or maybe it was in the podcast, I don't know, where he has to like learn Premiere or iMovie every single year again. He's like, all right, where's this thing? I forget.
Yeah. But even the effort that they put into it, just because like it's fun and that's always so much fun to see. Jacob's film this year was like, he just took the trope and just kept running with it.
Yeah.
For his this year, and Trevor doing an opening and making a song, and his idea of like, okay, what is nobody gonna expect from me? And that's
it was a
Trevor
song.
to make
That's
a song. So
Yep. It was great.
Yeah.
No, that was good. And then you've got like Power Friendship, Sir Sam, Rex Moriendum, Rotten Roommate 2.
Yep.
I mean, now I'm just like naming all of them, but like it was fun. Like it was a really, really fun year. They were all engaging stories. Even if Zach did, destroy Party Room with Kill Happy. It made.
I don't think he destroyed it. I think it just was a turning point for it.
It very much was.
And everybody realized, oh yeah, we can do more. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I love, I mean, even the restrictions that we have with like having to fit in a specific line, having to fit in a specific prop.
Yeah.
I mean, those are fairly minor things, but then you get the tropes and the actors and stuff like that. All of those, none of the rules that we've ever had have been restrictive.
And that's kind of the goal. Like we think about that all the time.
But they've all done a little bit to inspire and encourage us all to be more creative. I mean, as you say, like so much of your film is based very strongly about around the trope that you receive.
Yeah.
And sometimes like people's entire films have been centered around what the information they got at the beginning.
What I always try and do...
Like Josiah's. The entirety of his film is based on the idea that we had a plunger as the thing.
Yes.
Like...
Yeah. Well, what, at least what, you can ask Zach and Josiah, but like what I try and think about with the rules is like, what's a rule that if you have no idea, it gives you something to go off of, but if you have an idea... you can just like kind of do it and like it doesn't really matter. Like like Jacob's film, like Jacob's trope was his parents die or whatever, right? The parents die, and like you can have any idea in the world and just like shoehorn that in somewhere. Like, and if he makes the whole film based off that, like great, but like who cares? Or like when the first year when it was all genres, like horror film is like kind of like a specific, but like not really. You can kind of do whatever. You could do whatever.
You can still marry that with whatever you want to.
Yeah. So anyway, the best kind of rule is like something that if you have no idea, if you're like a Trevor or I don't want to pick on someone and be wrong, but basically, if you're the type of person in the group that doesn't know what they're going to do, we're going to call them the Trevors. And anyone else can put themselves in that category. But if you have no idea what to do, you can at least be like, okay, I'm just going to build it off of this. But then if you're like Matt and you've had this thing scripted since September 1st, you can just, get the rules video and be like, okay, I'll throw this in the script somewhere.
I'll fit this into where it needs to be. And Heather and I were talking the other day, driving down to her parents, after Zach put out the call for props and lines. We were talking about like, okay, what kind of line, what kind of prop should we do? And especially for prop, she was talking about how like plunger was good. Let's see, what was it? It was mousetrap, shovel,
Nickelback CD.
Nickelback CD plunger. She was like, Nickelback CD was awesome because it's specific enough that like you have to be intentional. Like you could just have it in the background, but like you can also be intentional with it. Mousetrap is great because like Mousetrap, immediately you're going to think of like, okay, this goes off.
Yeah.
And so like Shovel isn't as good because okay, you dig something or something like that.
Yeah.
And even plunger.
I just like threw it on a shelf.
Yeah, it's just on a shelf in your. So like you can. But like for Josiah, he made it the entire thing, and so finding the rules that really like aren't over encumbering to a film, but are like a little bit more than just passive.
Yes,
are
good.
Finding that kind of balance.
I like the idea of like a prop that like implies an action with it. Or like a shovel,
kind of like Chekhov's gun, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like if you see a gun in the first act, it needs to go off by the third.
Or like a shovel, you like kind of think it has an action with it, but actually it doesn't really. Like,
it doesn't have to.
You can just like lay it against a wall in the background or something. That's actually a good way to. I'm definitely going to think about that in my prop for this year. Yeah, some type of prop that has an action with it,
or is just specific enough to be. To have a lot of different things that you can do with it. So like that's why like it's not the prop that I submitted this year, but like last year I submitted melon. And I think like melon is a good prop in that way because like someone can be eating it, it could get smashed, it can be rolled down a hill. Like there's a lot of different things that you can do with a melon that are very creative.
That was a good prop. Someone, I think in the past, like Taco Bell, I think like always gets submitted. And that also works too because like Taco Bell's never just going to sit on the shelf. It's like someone's going to be eating Taco Bell in the background.
Yeah, or like I think like people have submitted like Happy Meal, like same kind of thing. Like it implies some kind of action to go along with it.
So if you're trying to think of if this comes out before June 1st and you're trying, or actually more like the middle of the month because I'm not editing this June 1st. But anyway, if you see this beforehand, think of that. If not, Party Room 6.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Very cool. Can I like riff on like little hidden things I put in pegged?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to hear more about that. So what are your favorite? What is your favorite part of pegged?
The montage. Because I spent like 3 whole days solely on the montage.
Wow.
Because there were like some effects that like in theory I thought would work, but wasn't positive. So the like when Zach is reading the map and the background changes behind him, I was like, this could look like kind of cheesy and wasn't totally sure, but that I think it worked.
It worked really well. No,
and the lighting with it helps. So like I would color correct it differently, so it kind of sells it a bit more. But yeah, that actually worked. So very proud of that. But anyway, the whole montage was like 3 days worth of editing. And yeah, it was like a combo Premiere to After Effects kind of situation. But yeah, it all worked really well. I was also really worried about the like as he's looking at the map and the background is like speeding past him. Wasn't sure if that worked, and that actually kind of did. The like panel left to right shot was a little bit.
That one is just gorgeous, and
it worked really well.
So impressed by that.
And it actually didn't take that long to make. I thought it would take. So basically, I just took one shot and then timed it out so he would walk across the screen in the time I needed him to.
Okay.
And then it was just like one shot from left to right and I shot it in 4K, so it was wider, so I could kind of play with it to time it up. So I got that down. Then I took I just divided up into 4 screens basically, and then I would find the next clip. And it also, I think it progresses from day to night. So it starts out bright, then it gets hotter, and then it's cool on the final shot. And then you would basically just throw another shot under it, shift it to the right slightly. And basically just match it to where I would time it where whatever body part is going into the next frame, I would just shift it to where it
until
would match.
That's
so that's the thing. It didn't actually. It took maybe an hour, but that's not for a special effects shot. That's not terrible.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. And I mean that's another thing that I love about Party Room is because I mean day to day you're not making a montage.
Yes,
a lot of times.
No.
And or doing special effects like that. And so I mean I love Party Room because it as you said when we were in your office the other day or earlier today. To the guy that you work with, it's your one chance to make something unhinged.
Yes,
and it's your one chance to be really creative in a way that you're not all the time. We work in creative jobs, and having that outlet for something personal that's this has a deadline, but it's a deadline that I've imposed on myself / that I have with my friends. And the goal of this is to make something that I want to see and want to share with my friends.
Yes.
And having that creative outlet outside of making things for other people all the time and having deadlines and making, honestly, a lot of times very boring things.
Yes. Very much so. Or things for me that have like multiple levels of approval and like, I've gotten random edits before, right? But this is like, I don't take edits from people. This is like, I'm just gonna.
I'll take it. I'll share it with a couple people and
I want like good, solid, like, okay,
constructive
this doesn't work for me. But then if I'm like, you know what, I'm actually just gonna keep that. Like there were my brother, when I showed him, he was like, I don't love the sound effects, but I was like, you know what, I'm going like all in on anime. So I found a YouTube pack with anime sound effects.
Nice.
And I was like, all right, this is what we're doing. So, and he was like, all right, that works. So, but yeah, the montage, I'm the most proud of that because that like worked perfectly. But then also this is the other thing I was going to say is the music tells the story.
Yes.
So when there's no instruments in the film, it's just voices. So at the very beginning, before Peg is introduced, it's just a cappella.
Okay.
And then when and I think even before or like when he's running through the woods to find Peg, it's just drums, so it's still not really like strings in any way. And then the like travel montage is kind of like more of like a bluegrassy kind of beat. When she's talking about Bo, it's more like symphonic. It's kind of folksy, but it's also like symphonic. That song is it's called Ashokan Farewell. It's from this PBS's The Civil War documentary series. Anyway, so there's that song, and then when she sees Bo, and like when they have the confrontation, that's what's that song? It's like the Bugs Bunny like da 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 da. But anyway, it's orchestral.
And that's where the Bugs Bunny orchestra.
And that's where they met in the orchestra. So like I picked an orchestral song, and then you end with more like an upbeat, fun song. So anyway, the song choices were very intentional. Wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't pick up on that, but I'm also not incredibly musically inclined. But like, I mean, that's what's so fun about Party Room Film Festival was everybody, as you said, like everybody this year made a film that's like very much them. And we see the different things that they have passion for and really want to share. And that's so important when you work creative jobs.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
We've got Party Room 5 right around the corner. It's May 1 and I'm so excited. I can't wait for Rules to come out in about 30 days.
Yeah, something like that. It'll be good. We're, definitely, again, you tell me your release schedule, but
I'm not entirely sure. Like, let's see.
I think even
this might come out right before Rules come out.
Right before. But yeah, it'll be.
I might be able to pick up the pace and get some of them out of
there. But it'll. No, definitely having a lot of fun with the intro video. The whole thing will be very, very fun. It's gonna be very, very good. I'm excited to see where it was. I had a lot of fun with the anime intro last year.
Oh, so you did such a good job with that.
That was very, very fun. And the original idea was Zach. So he was like, I think he said, what if you did like some anime like video, something for Party Room, and then he had texted it like over Christmas, and I just happened to be with Sarah's family that Christmas. And I think he texted it as I was driving down there, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it a whole heck of a lot. And we got down there, and within 2 days, Sarah and her parents had the stomach bug, like immediately. No. So I just had all this time to myself, not doing anything over Christmas. So I just like edited literally over, I think I did like 70 or 80% at her parents on Christmas. So that video was done for like 5 months, basically. Wow. But yeah, it'll be very, very fun this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. So
cool. Well, do I get to say like my actor that are the people I want to like work with?
Oh yeah.
Dude, you're robbing me.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. Okay. So, let's see. I'm a big fan of the podcast, so I've prepared all my answers, but I actually didn't prepare anything. So, so what I realized with Zach was that I have not actually been like the protagonist in any films except for my own. So I have never, and there's probably a reason for that. One, because like the first year we did it, I was close. close by. But then the second year I was away for the Olympics.
But it was
so
also COVID.
It was also COVID, yeah. So second year, and we didn't know what we were doing. And then second year I was away for the Olympics. Then third and fourth years I was here in DC, so not really time. And then this year I'm at the Olympics. So this year probably will not happen again. But at some point would love to be in someone's film. And I think I would actually really love to be in a Trevor film, not necessarily for the quality, but for the memory. Because I don't know if he would necessarily get the best quality out of me, but he would get the best out of me, I think is fair to say.
Yep.
So
talking about Trevor, this is a little bit of a tangent, but we were talking about with Zach. He was like, I really want to do something like big with the group, and so he was like, we should just like get together and like maybe in the off season, like the opposite part of the year, we make like an actual short film, and we just all do different things and do it. And I was like, okay, hear me out. We don't have him write it, but Trevor directs it.
Yeah.
And then like
we make him direct a Zach film.
We make him direct a Zach film. Andrew, like me and Paul do the cinematography for it. Yeah. And then like Levi does the music and everything like that.
And Heather has to be producer.
Heather produces it.
Sure.
But the absolute chaos of Trevor directing it.
Yeah.
I think would actually make something really unique.
What if we make Trevor and Mitchell like co-direct?
One of them will kill the other.
Yeah. I mean that would be very enjoyable. Or what if they both had to be the leads, but Trevor had to direct Mitchell's scenes and Mitchell had to direct Trevor's scenes?
I mean, any of it would be an experience. Yeah. I mean, like if we start doing it in the off season, like we can do it a couple times. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Exactly.
But I think it would be cool to work on like a larger project as a group and like maybe try to make something that we can put on.
That would be festival or something. That would be very fun. But yeah, I'd like to be in a Trevor film. I mean, I think Zach's been said a lot, but I think if he got so much out of Tanner. I'm not an intrinsically great actor, so but I think Zach could get. If I was going for the Dewey for Best Actor, I would probably want to be in Zach's film.
That's fair.
I was going, I mean, I don't even know what I would be going for. Just for the experience, I would want to be in a Trevor film.
That's fair.
I think.
Yep.
So there you go. That's
any actors you'd like to have this year?
Who have? I mean, I actually kind of have a role in mind for Trevor.
Okay.
We'll see again what the council decides on the rules, but I think I'll probably get him involved. But
whether he's your assigned or not.
Whether he's assigned or not. But Paul is also a very solid actor. Wouldn't mind working with him. But again, the tough thing is like I don't think I'm going to get down to Kentucky, so it's like. If these people were in my film, they would have to like film stuff for me and send it. So, so we'll see. Yep.
Well, I might be back in Maryland sometime. So if it's during the filming season, we can collaborate maybe.
I love it. That'd be great. June to July 17th.
Yeah.
Is my time. So. Yeah.
Well, that still gives you plenty of time to get it
plenty
done before.
We were, when we were discussing the film festival schedule this year, I think Zach or Josiah was like, should we maybe like in Olympics years, like expand the filming schedule so people have more time to film if they're going to the Olympics? And I was like, Zach, we film for 2 months, or Zach or Josiah again, I forget who said it, but I was like, well, we already... The 2 months is because of the Olympics. Like this was the original. Remember, this was like because originally it was 1, and then the next year was the Olympics, so we made it 2. So
plus the extra month of August.
Yeah,
a lot of people still use.
Exactly. Looking at him. But yeah. Anyway, we'll see. It'll be fun this year. I definitely have a plan. I have a beginning and a middle. I don't have an end. So we'll
that's often the hardest part.
Yeah, but I've got at least 20 more days to walk to work, so I've got time to think it through.
Yep. Well,
perfect.
Good work.
Great job with the podcast, my
Thank
friend.
you. I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and you're meeting like everybody.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me while you're sitting here?
Oh, geez. Shoot. I didn't prepare. Okay, hold on. Like about your film or about life?
About film, life, whatever.
Jeez. Okay. Really open-ended. Okay, hold on. Let me think. What if you were to, we're gonna make it party room themed.
Okay.
If you could change one rule or add one thing to party room, what would it be? But it cannot be longer film time or anything related to time. It cannot involve time.
So I've thought about this, and
okay.
actually, my idea would be that wives can substitute for the acting role for their partner. So, like, if I'm
okay.
assigned to your film,
Yeah.
Heather counts.
Gotcha. I don't hate that.
Now,
Yeah.
it gets weird because not all the guys
Yeah.
are married.
Yeah.
But like, I think that it would be funny, and a lot of the wives probably wouldn't even like
Yeah.
be a part of it either. But like, I don't know. I had that idea at one point. I was like, that would be kind of interesting. So
like
like
that.
if you had Josiah Downey, like maybe you use Melissa.
Yeah.
And it still counts. That like,
I like it.
but
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll petition that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I'll ask you about is what are your thoughts on Trevor Smith for council?
What are my thoughts on Trevor Smith for council? Well, the I forget where it was, but I saw there was some group like the committee to not vote for Trevor or something that claims the man is wrong for party room. And I don't really know what that means, but I also don't love the fact that he throws, by his own admission, throws rocks at children in local parks, and seemed to be smiling while saying that. And those videos exist. I'm not saying who dug them up or who saved them when he made a demo reel for his friend for his birthday, but somebody did. And those videos are out there. And if we're trying to how do I put this? Preserve the integrity of Party Room. Maybe not the integrity, maybe the purity, I think we can say. I'm not sure that Trevor is the man. And also, on a more practical note, Trevor is going to be a lot more of a jerk than I am. So if you think for a second that he would go easy on you in any way, and you think the losing a vote per day late rule is bad, that was his idea. He came up with that. So yeah, I don't I don't see that happening. I also don't remember when we made Party Room a democracy, but maybe it happened without my knowledge. But yeah, I would say to preserve the integrity, the purity, and the standing of the festival, I think maybe we pass on him for now.
Gotcha.
Not forever, but not for now.
Yeah. I think that's well said, and I think with that we're done.
Good. Yeah, great.
Just hanging out.
Hanging out with my family.